All right, let's dive into the art of mindful awareness. Today, we're going to tear down some of the biggest myths that get in the way of this practice so you can finally see what it's really all about.
So does this sound familiar? You think, okay, I'm going to meditate, you sit down, try to get quiet, and bam, your mind is just off to the races. It feels like a total freeway during rush hour, right? This is probably the #1 reason people just give up and say, I can't do this. But what if I told you that whole idea, that whole struggle, is based on a huge misunderstanding?
And that brings us right to our first big idea, the myth of control. Seriously, we're going to tackle the absolute biggest misconception about meditation right out of the gate, because once you get this, everything changes.
Okay, let's get this straight. The goal is not to have an empty mind. It's not about stopping your thoughts or wrestling your brain into some perfect, blissful silence. Look, your mind is supposed to have thoughts. That's its job. It's like your heart is supposed to beat. Trying to stop your thoughts is like, well, it's like trying to stop the waves in the ocean with your bare hands. It's just exhausting. And guess what? It never works.
And this quote right here points to such a beautiful, simple truth. Mindfulness isn't about forcing some special state of being. It's just noticing what's already here. I love this idea. Think of it as shifting from being the frantic director of your own mental movie, yelling cut and action, to just being a curious member of the audience, watching the show unfold.
So you see, you don't actually have to do anything or create some special feeling. The whole practice, the entire thing, is just about developing this gentle, continuous awareness of whatever's happening right as it's happening. And the cool part, when you just focus on that, the results, they just start to happen all on their own.
This idea flows perfectly into our next section. Work on the causes, not the results. And let me tell you, this is a total game changer, not just for meditation, but for pretty much any skill you're trying to build in life.
Seriously, think about it. Have you ever been trying to study or get some work done and you just tell yourself, okay, brain, concentrate, now? How does that usually go? Yeah, not so well, right? It's like the more you try to force concentration, the more it just slips right through your fingers. But there's a much, much smarter way to go about it.
And this, right here, is that smarter way. See, concentration isn't something you force, it's a result. It's something that just shows up when the conditions are right. And what are those conditions? Well, first, it's right effort, which really just means gently trying, persevering. And second, it's right mindfulness, just being aware of what you're experiencing. So you focus on the causes, and the result, that right concentration, it just happens naturally.
So what does being aware of your experience actually look like? This is a perfect example. Let's say you're angry. The wrong object for your attention is the person you're mad at. Thinking about them over and over just fuels the fire, right? The right object is the feeling of anger itself. Like, what does it actually feel like physically in your body? Where is it? Is it hot? Is there a tightness somewhere? You're not judging it or trying to make it go away. You're just getting curious about your direct experience.
Okay, so let's talk about the other big meditation killer, boredom. You know the feeling. You're sitting there, watching your breath, and your brain just starts screaming, ugh, this is so boring. But what if boredom isn't what you think it is? What if it's just another myth?
It turns out, boredom doesn't come from the experience itself. It comes from a single thought about the experience. It's that little label your mind slaps on top of everything. I'm watching the same old thing, or nothing's happening. But here's the really important question. Is that label even true? And the answer, when you look closely, is amazing. This quote says it all. No two moments feel exactly the same. And it's true. If you really, truly pay attention, you start to see that nothing is ever static. Every single breath is a little different. The sensations in your body are always shifting and changing. Every single moment is totally brand new.
And once you actually see this for yourself, not just think about it as an idea, but really feel it as a direct experience, boredom just dissolves. It can't survive. How can you possibly be bored when you're watching something that is literally changing in every single instant? Every moment becomes this fascinating little discovery. Okay, so we've busted the myth of needing to control your thoughts, and we've busted the myth of boredom. It all comes down to cultivating the right attitude, the right mindset you bring to the table. It's really less about some fancy technique and way more about the quality of your attention. The key here is just gentleness. You want to practice peacefully, respectfully, not like you're trying to force something. And please, don't be too serious about it. This is an exploration, not some big exam.
It's also super important to remember that your thoughts, like that little voice saying, "I'm so bad at this," they directly create your feelings. But maybe the most powerful tip of all is this one. If you feel lost, if you have no idea what's going on, just wait. Don't do anything. Don't try to fix it. Just give clarity a chance to show up on its own.
All right, let's tie all of this together. We're going to wrap this up with a really simple but really powerful way to understand what mindfulness actually is.
This is it, right here. Forget everything you've heard about having an empty mind. Mindfulness is actually a mind that is full of awareness. It's not about taking things away, it's about adding something. You're adding this rich, vivid, moment-to-moment awareness to whatever's already happening.
So, I want to leave you with this one question to take with you, not just in your practice, but in your life. The next time you hit a wall, when you feel totally stuck and you have no idea what to do, what if, instead of struggling and forcing and fighting, you just waited? What if you just paused?